providing resources and comfort to caregivers. This is Caregiver Crossing.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for being here. We are a show brought to you by Joy's House, presented in partnership with Cardon and Associates, and we come to you every week with all things caregiving. I'm Tina McIntosh in studio with...
No, it's Ayler.
Hey, you were really excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited today. It's a great week. It's a great day.
You're crazy. I mean, it is. You're right. No, you're right. We are in the Joy's House studio, and we want to open today's show talking about a first-person story that was published in the Business Insider, and it focuses on what happens when caregiving ends and the identity doesn't disappear. And so, Noah, would you read us a little excerpt?
Yeah, I feel like, when you listeners hear this, this is probably a story that you will be able to resonate with all too much. And here is her story right from the expert. For the last 6 months of my grandfather's life, my mornings had a rhythm. Wake up, check on Papa, get him coffee, and make sure he took his medicine. After my grandmother died in September 2024, it was just my Papa and me in the house where I grew up. That's when I truly stepped into the caregiver role. When he passed in December 2025, the schedule that had governed my days vanished. I kept listening for him to call my name, needing something. The silence felt wrong. Now, weeks after his funeral, I'm realizing that I don't know who I am anymore.
I don't know who I am anymore. What does this say to you, Noah?
I think this says that this person loved their family so much that the caregiver role took over most of their life. I think that it embedded itself as such that it is a second full-time job. I think that it just weaves its way into every aspect of our life. Anytime we're doing something, if you're a caregiver, you're thinking about, what do I need to do for this person? And it's just hard to adjust your schedule after that.
Yeah, it catches me that the silence and the stillness is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I don't know, when someone's life ends or the caregiving period ends, like we all know there's going to be a relief, the it feels like you've lost 100 pounds kind of a feeling,
Yeah.
But people then often feel lost instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we see that a lot at Joy's House. We see a lot of families who were a part of the Joy's House family for years. I mean, a couple even come to mind that were decades. And when their loved one died, they couldn't come back here. It eventually, most of them did, but it took a long time. And I think people feel that way in their own homes, in their own spaces, in their own skin.
Yeah, bringing up that part about being in the home too. I mean, if it's your loved one that in this specific story we're talking about, this person grew up in this home with their papa, with their grandma. It has to mean so much more if you're still living in this abode too, where you grew up with the people that you're taking care of, and you're in the home that doesn't feel normal anymore.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you never knew that space without them.
Yeah.
And now that space is empty. There's an emptiness to it.
Feels wrong.
A void.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear people use that word, but this also, what I really liked about this beautiful writing, by the way, the author of this has a beautiful style and brings you in, but not only that, the caregiving also gives this part of life that rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
This person talked about wake up, check on Papa, get him coffee, make sure he took his meds. It just goes on, and then all of a sudden, when you don't have that rhythm, I think it's I don't know. I have kids who are out of the house and kids who are still in the house. It's the same thing that people feel different, but very similar. When I have a lot of friends who say I'm getting ready to be empty nesters. And it's that same kind of thing. Yes, this is what I've raised these children to go and do, to live on their own. And yet I'm so happy and I'm so sad all at the same time. Both can be true. Why do we think only one is true?
Right.
I mean, with death, with that, with whatever it is, I can be both terribly excited and devastated.
Yes. And that is being human, really. I mean,
yeah,
feeling everything at the same time. That is being human. It made me think of when people are empty nesters, they move a lot.
A lot. Yeah, you're right.
When
a
your
new
children
start.
when you have a new start. And that made me think too, after my dad passed away, my mom did move to a brand new home. I just wonder if that gives people any relief being in a new space.
So hard to be in the space where you lived and loved
Yeah.
someone. I would imagine that's true. I
Yeah.
mean, you hear about people saying, I couldn't go through the clothes,
Mm-hmm.
or there are boxes from 5 years ago when she passed and I just haven't been able to touch them. I'm the opposite. I want to go through the things right away.
Let's get it done.
And I'll usually create I'm going to keep this stuff forever. I'm going to get rid of the stuff, and I'm going to keep this stuff to look at when I'm not as emotionally tied to it.
Was it that therapeutic for you at all,
Yes.
going through those
Yes.
things?
Yes.
Did it make you feel more relaxed afterwards?
It did. So I'm thinking about my father as well in this situation, because I have those bins under my ping pong table in the garage,
Yeah.
and I still have the go through them bins, and then I've got the keep. We got rid of a lot of things. It was very therapeutic. It did also raise some questions. That part is probably the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
there are no answers.
you can't get answers anymore.
Yeah. So how about you?
We still have a lot of my dad's stuff. I think we are the opposite of you. I think, we still have half of his stuff is just filling my garage. But what is the coolest thing is my dad every single night made a new drawing or a new piece of art. And that's what I love so much is we have so many of those pieces of art. Man, I'd love to post about one of them, but he is not the type of person that you would think normally would be like a drawer or a painter or
I
anything.
knew your dad, and that surprises me.
We have literally every single night before bed, he would create a new piece, and I'm just thankful that we still have all of those.
Why don't you have those on T-shirts?
That is a great question. I mean, I have a few framed up in my house.
I want to see you wearing the T-shirts. Like I don't know what the artwork is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways to celebrate people, and I think it's so. Not even. I think it is absolutely not even okay is the right word. It is right. Whatever works for your spirit.
Yeah.
Whatever works for your spirit. I think is the right thing to do. So,
And there is still life after caregiving. You are still a whole human after you lose your loved one.
yeah. So I hear this writing. I'm realizing I don't know who I am anymore. I just want to encourage the author and all of you. You're in there. You're the same and you're different.
Yeah.
And so can't wait to meet you. All right, we're going to have to take a break. If you need anything at all here in Caregiver Crossing, you can email me at tina@joyshouse.org.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you weekly by Joyce House in partnership with the awesome Cardon and Associates. We're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. Visit joycehouse.org to connect with us to hear past episodes, learn more about caregiver support resources in the community, and much, much more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after the break.
We're back on Caregiver Crossing. I'm Tina McIntosh in studio with Noah Taylor, and we're at the Joyce House studio. Happy to be here on this lovely day, and we get to welcome somebody who is really important in our lives at Joyce House, and I'll speak for myself, important in my life. And so today we get the honor of introducing you to Chaplain Doug Pabody, who is a chaplain with Workforce Chaplains. How many times can I say chaplains in
I don't know,
one
keep going.
sentence?
Say it one more time.
Chaplain. Chaplain Doug has spent, I did it again. Chaplain Doug has spent years walking alongside people through everyday challenges. And if you've ever met him, he is a beautiful, steady presence and a listening ear. He is one of the best non-therapist therapists I've ever worked with. And so his work is rooted in care and compassion, and he shows up for people where they are, not where he wants them to be. And we're happy that he's here today. So Chaplain Doug, hi.
Hi, what an honor to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me, and I've been excited about this for a while now.
Well, we're glad you're here. And I mean, I would imagine there are a lot of people who are listening right now who have never had the honor and the pleasure of working with a chaplain. And so, how do you explain to people what that means?
Yeah, a chaplain is simply a person who provides personal, spiritual, and emotional care in a secular setting, whereas a pastor might provide that care in a church setting or in someone's home. Chaplain actually goes to where people are in the world.
Yeah. So, when we say you meet people where they are, we mean literally you're meeting people, not just emotionally where they are, but where they are.
Physically where they are. Absolutely.
I never knew the difference between those two. Do I have to be a Christian to work with a chaplain or have a relationship?
Absolutely not. It's our privilege to work with people from every conceivable faith tradition, every worldview, every philosophy of life. If you are a human being, then you are qualified to receive the best possible chaplain care.
I love that. And like, where do you go? Give us some examples of places you go without
Actually-
breaking any confidentiality here.
Well,
Joy's house. We
actually-
can say Joy's
Yes.
house.
Yeah.
We can say Morning Light because we had Madison on last weekend and she talked about how you come to Morning Light as well.
Yeah, people would be amazed. I mean, there are chaplains involved with addiction recovery, jails and prisons, those who are released from prison, those who are on parole, disabled, and their families, troubled teens, sex trafficking victims, the hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, places like Joy's House, adult day services, hospice, emergency response, schools, college campuses, military bases, police and fire, office and workplace environment, sports chaplains, so about any walk of life.
Wow.
That is so incredible. That workforce helps in so many different situations. I know specifically here at Joy's House, we have the pleasure of getting to work with you, Doug. And I mean, just you are an amazing ear, an amazing friend. Something that everyone says here about you is that you truly listen without trying to fix people's problems. What is important about simply listening, and why is that more important than maybe trying to fix somebody's problems?
That's an incredibly important thing, listening. And so when you think about where the word chaplain came from, it's really a beautiful story, actually. 4th century, there was a Roman soldier named Martin, and he was with the Imperial Guard. And one night he saw a beggar dressed in rags and shivering in the rain and the cold. And he took his cloak and with his sword, he cut it in half and he put half of the cloak around the beggar and used the rest of it just for a cloak for himself. And as the story is told, that night, Jesus revealed himself in a vision to Martin and said, that beggar was me. There's a verse that says, inasmuch as you've done it to the least of these, my brethren, you've done it to me. And from that point on, Martin became a serious follower of Christ. He entered the ministry. And so the French word capelle is where we get our English words chapel and chaplain. Okay, so now consider those two things for just a moment. A chapel isn't a dedicated building, it's a dedicated space in a building. A chaplain creates space for people. I might be in the hall talking with somebody, but in that conversation, a space is created that is safe, that is confidential, where that person can decompress, where that person does not fear judgment from me. In fact, what they'll find is I will ask questions. I will seek to help him verbally process the thing that is pressing hard on him. So the chapel that we create there, that sacred space, allows him to actually breathe and for
Love
that problem to breathe. Now, we're also, chaplain comes from that word cloak. We're also placing a cloak around him in that space of care, of love, of understanding. And so it's a beautiful picture. You know, we are creating space where people can receive genuine and sincere care. And often it's just the opportunity to talk to somebody in a safe place, somebody that isn't going to judge whether they're worthy to keep their job or not. They know that's not even a question. I'm not there evaluating whether they should remain in their job. I'm a perfectly safe person for them to talk to. And often they have said just to be able to talk was hugely important.
It's beautiful. I mean, I say people always need, we should all have a therapist. We should all have a
Yes.
chaplain. I mean, a safe place. And so, Chaplain Doug, does it take people any amount of time to open up to you? Or do you find that they're just like, I'm in a safe place and I'm out with it? Or does it take a few times?
Well, trust is the thing. And so some people may never avail themselves of a chaplain. They're still comforted, by the way, with the fact that they could talk to a chaplain if needed to. It's like I'm comforted with the fact that I've got 911 on my phone. I hope I never have to call the fire department.
Yes.
I've called the police before. I don't do that a lot, but I'm comforted to know that I can. But as I enter a building for the first time, I realize, okay, I can't expect people to hand me the fine china of their lives without trust being built, and that takes time. And so the way that we do that is there's really 3 C's. One is care. I don't act like I care for the people that I serve. I genuinely care. And so I show that by things like learning their name. You cannot even imagine what impact that has that, hey, my chaplain knows my name. He cared to learn my name. And you may be a housekeeper that's been in the country for 6 months from Nigeria, but for your chaplain a month later to remember your Nigerian name. As I get to know people, I try to learn their spouse's name or their partner's name.
Listen, we just talked about that this week in a staff meeting, how good you are and how much that means to us as individuals.
Oh, thank
So we're going to save the other 2 C's. We're going to have to take a break. We'll be back with Chaplain Doug Pabody from Workforce Chaplains here in just a moment. And don't worry, he'll tell us the other 2 C's.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you as a service of Joyce House in partnership with Cardon & Associates. With locations in Broad Ripple and near the University of Indianapolis campus, Joyce House provides exceptional day services for individuals living with a life-altering diagnosis and compassionate support for family caregivers throughout the community. At Joyce House, we believe that everyone deserves to live their best life, regardless of their abilities. Learn more about our adult day and caregiver support services by visiting joycehouse.org today. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after the break.
We're back on Caregiver Crossing. Tina McIntosh in the Joyce House studio with Noah Taylor and the one and only chaplain, Doug Pabody, with Workforce Chaplains. Is that the first time you've ever gotten the whoop, whoop, whoop coming in?
On the radio, yes. I'm honored.
Well, if you missed the last segment, you're going to want to go back and find that on a podcast and listen to it because it was spectacular. But we were talking about Chaplain Doug's 3 C's. And the first one he explained to us is care and truly caring for the person that he is actively listening. Those are words we hear a lot, actively listening, but he's teaching us a little bit more.
Yeah,
What's the second C?
Thank you. Well, going back to the first one of care, if I have a conversation with you and you mention your grandma is in the hospital and I can tell you're very concerned about that, I'll make a note of that. I got 12 grandkids. My memory isn't what it used to be, so I got to write things down. But I will study those notes, and the next time I talk to you, we're going to talk about your grandma. And I'm going to try to learn your kids' names, your dog's name, and I want to care not only about you, but the people you care about. The second C, hugely important, confidentiality. We're talking about the 3 C's of building trust. This is absolutely critical. Again, before somebody wants to talk to you about something that may cause them anxiety or fear or shame or regret, they need to know that it stops with the chaplain. And unless you're planning to blow up the White House or something, I'm not going to be going.
No one is planning to do that. I want to be very clear here on
Nobody
air.
here.
Just an example.
No one is planning to do
But
that.
there are some buildings I visit. Well, anyway, that's another one. But confidentiality, what you share with me, stays with me. The third C is core motivation. And here's what I mean by that. I don't want anybody to ever wonder what it is I'm trying to take from them. In other words, I serve them with no desire to take anything from them. I'm there to give to them. There's nothing I want or need from the person I serve, but there's so much I want for them. I want for them to find peace. I want for them to find reconciliation, whether it be with God, whether it be with the people in their life. And so core motivation is important. I had a lady say, and it encouraged me so much, she said, "You're the only person who walks into my office who doesn't need something from me." And that
yes.
brought relief
Yeah.
to her.
Was it me? Did I say that?
And you have not said that yet. But anyway, so those are my 3 C's.
It's beautiful.
So, Doug, last year, you and I had a really sweet moment that I always think about. My grandpa passed away at the beginning of last year, and I remember you coming into my office and just asking me about him, asking about my family. And I have this picture on my desk where we had this little reunion for my family, and I just remember you asking all the questions about my family and just being there. How do you know when to talk and simply to stay quiet and listen?
Great question. There's the scripture that says, "Fool does not delight in understanding, but only in expressing his own opinion." So I've tried not to be that way, and part of earning trust is treating people with respect and showing genuine interest in their lives. So I want to learn. I want to. In fact, here's what I hope happens in that little chapel that's created. Okay, that little chapel without walls. I hope that there's recognition. I'm gonna call you by name and remember what we've talked about before. I hope that you can decompress and allow the things that are pressing in to just move away from you a bit. Then I want validation to validate your concerns and validate the things that are important to you as much as I can. Then there's rejuvenation, hoping that you find some encouragement, some refreshment, some hope. And then affirmation. I walk around in a place like Joy's house and I worship because I see the amazing gifts and abilities that you all have, things that I don't possess. And I want to learn. I want to know more about that. And I want to say to you, God has given you that ability and your contribution is significant. Then there's appreciation, thanking you for your hard work, celebration, the milestones, the achievements, the graduations, promotions, awards, degrees, certifications. Your kids may be graduating. There may be weddings, births, and certainly reconciliation, as I had mentioned before, we hope will happen too. So all of those things, could happen in even in a few-minute conversation. It's amazing.
You are hearing the voice of Chaplain Doug Pabody, who is the workforce. He's a chaplain with Workforce Chaplains. And if someone's listening and they think, I want this in my life, what can they do?
Okay. Simply go. I'm certainly partial to workforce chaplains. I work with an amazing group of men and women. Our director, our president is Marcus. And Marcus and Darren would love to talk to you. If you simply go to workforcechaplains.com, there's all kinds of contact information. You can email, there's a phone number there. We are looking for new people to serve all the time. And I'm telling you, the team that we have they will not disappoint. They're amazing men and women.
So, if a listener or a caregiver wanted to be a better support person for a caregiver in their life, what is a small habit they could try starting this week to be a better listener?
For the caregiver,
To be a better listener for the caregiver.
uh, again, I like that concept of decompression and creating a space for a person to say, you are in a judgment free zone. And there are caregivers who are struggling with things like guilt. They're struggling with bitterness and resentment. They are beyond exhausted. They barely know their own name. They feel trapped at times. These are people who love, though. They love the person they're caring for, but they need help. It does take a village, the old African proverb. And so I think asking questions, not presuming I know how they feel, and not letting them compare themselves with maybe a sibling who maybe does it a little better, who are better built for caregiving than they are, to help them discover where they're really strong and let them do what they're really, really good at and get help for those areas where they're not so good. But the listening part, I'm so glad you mentioned that again, because I think that's one of the best gifts we can give to somebody. And I've been in homes where I have sat for literally hours, 3 and 4 hours, maybe talked for 10 minutes of that time. And so one of the greatest ways you can love somebody is listening and asking good questions.
And I will add here at the close that this is not the only thing that makes a good listener. Just shut your mouth. Just stop talking. Just shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So on that note, I would never tell Chaplain Doug to shut his mouth, and yet we have to go. Will you come back another time?
I would love to. This has been fun.
All right, we'll have him back. We got to bounce.
Absolutely. Doug, thank you so much for sharing your cloak with us. You are truly a blessing to Joyce House, and not just because we get Oreos from you.
But that doesn't hurt either.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Hey, thank you. It's been an honor. I
Thank you.
appreciate it so much.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you weekly by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. Visit joycehouse.org to connect with us, hear past episodes, learn more about caregiver support resources in the community, and much more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing.
We're back for the end of our time together in Caregiver Crossing. We'll be back next weekend. I cannot believe it's end of February, my friends. But Caregiver Crossing brought to you by Joyce House and our friends at Cardon. We are in the Joyce House studio. I am Tina McIntosh, and with me today is Noah Taylor. Noah, do you know what there's been a lot of conversation about lately?
There's been a lot of conversation
Nope,
lately.
wrong.
I was trying to think of something weird to
I could
say,
see
but
his eyes went to the sky like he was going to get some divine answer here. But there's been a lot of conversation lately about grandparents caring for their grandchildren and how it affects their brain health. Are you familiar with this?
I am a little bit familiar. So I actually found this study doing a little bit of research about brain health and caregiving. And studies do show a link between staying socially engaged with your grandchildren and cognitive brain health.
All right. So I buy into that. And yet,
I do want to preface this by saying, one, it is an association, not a causation. So it's, they can't technically say that your cognitive brain health is caused by you spending more time with your grandchildren. And also part two is if you're a grandparent and you still are very you are still very cognitively healthy, you are more likely to spend more time with your grandchildren.
right. So that's part of it for me is that also, don't you think that if I say, hey, Mom, can you take care of the kids? I'm asking her because she has a lifestyle that I know she's going to keep them safe because
Right.
she's physically active, because she's mentally, feels sound in that way. So I don't know. I think they also have some healthy habits. or well-being already.
I think so. And obviously, you would already trust this person, I mean, to take care of your loved ones.
Or you're really desperate.
Or you're very desperate.
I think
That's
it can be sometimes it's
I think
both.
there's probably a lot of parents who are feeling that one.
But the studies do tell us that there is that link between the two, and that grandparents who are involved with their care of their grandchildren often score better on memory tests. Researchers, like you said, are clear it's an association. And so I don't know. I mean, caregiving isn't a magic solution. And
Yes.
I do want to talk about some of the realities of that as well. Like, it is, I think often the people I know in my life who have taken on caregiving for their grandchildren, they often do it when they are feeling physically and emotionally strong.
Mhm.
And they start doing it, and they are torn between that is the best time ever, if only the time were an hour, because I'm exhausted.
Right.
And so then they start doing it over and over and over again. And then there comes a point, it's like, where are your boundaries to say, you know what, I just can't
This
the
is not
way
my
I used
child.
to.
Yeah. Well, one, I don't know if I can do this anymore, but two, this might not be
So
my child. Yes.
I don't know. Oh, my mic fell again. Noah sabotages me, you guys. Like, once every 3 months,
Once
my
every 3
mic
months.
just falls from the sky.
It always has to be our last segment here too. That I'm just
So
messing with the
true.
microphones too much.
Ay, ay, ay.
I do think like in that same window that you're speaking, too much responsibility does increase. I mean, I think our caregivers know this, that too much responsibility can and will increase your
Yeah,
stress.
no, I mean, people are yelling at you right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no kidding. Thanks.
Yeah.
So you've got to have your boundaries in place. I think that is an important thing. Noah, has there ever been an experience in your life where you said yes to something and then later you think, that might be too much?
Every single time. Every
Is it
single
here?
time.
Is it me?
No, everything here I am happy that I have said yes to. I think it's always like, maybe, I love my nephews, but if my sister were to ask, hey, do you want to watch your nephews? And then maybe I get a little bit closer to the date and I'm like, wow, I really I need to spend more time working, or I need to go to the store, or I have so many other things going on in my life. Well, maybe I wish I hadn't said yes.
Yeah. It's hard. I've got my 6-year-old niece is deeply in my life right now. And even the other day I put her on the bus and I was just having a day. I was just kind of crabby. She was a little crabby too, but she's 6.
Yeah.
I'm 50, almost 54 years old. Like, get it together.
We've got some ways to deal with it at
And
this point.
I finally just said, listen, honey, Aunt Tina I'm just kind of crabby right now, and I will be better when you get off the bus later today. But I was kind of like, I think I might need a moment.
Yeah, I think, well, one, that's probably very important for her to hear. Is it hard for you to say that, this is too much responsibility? Or maybe, is it hard for you to say, I'm doing too much right now?
I mean, yes. Yes, but it's hard because I care. I will do things if I'm the only or the best. And so it's hard because of that. It's hard because I care. And not just in this situation, I'm
Right,
thinking in
right.
general, right? And the hardest part for me is with my faith is like, okay, God, what do you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes his voice isn't clear enough for me to get the right answer, or to get the answer, not the right answer, but
Right.
the answer. And so, just kind of stepping into the moments of the days with my eyes wide open, but not being able to see where I'm going. I have to do that with faith, and I do it. It's not necessarily my favorite way to walk. How was that for a somewhat poetic
That was a
answer?
beautiful answer.
Thank
and
you,
I think
thank you.
exactly what I wanted to hear.
I mean, the answer's yes, unless it's just a no. And I'm pretty clear on a no.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Good for you. I think we all need to learn how to say no. In our last few seconds here, did your grandparents ever take care of you? Did you get to spend a lot of time with your grandparents growing up?
I really did. So my biological father's mother had me a lot. He unfortunately did not. That's a whole different therapy session. But I was with my grandma Edna a lot. And so, yes. And then like every other weekend, visitation kind of things. My parents were divorced. And then my grandma Ethel. These are great grandparent names, right? But my mom's mom, she helped out a lot in the summers. I was with her as much as I could be. She was just fantastic. I did run away once when I was little.
I bet they loved that.
Well, I went a handful of blocks over. I was angry.
Yeah.
And so I ran away. And then one time I got so mad that I bit a ring, a very cheap ring that was on my finger, and it got stuck, and then I freaked out.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to say you bit the ring off one of your grandparents' hands or something.
I actually just bit their entire finger
Okay,
off.
well.
Yeah, that didn't happen. You?
Yeah, I got to spend a lot of time with my grandparents on my mom's side. They had a farm down in Evansville.
I say that's where you had to work on the farm.
That's where I had to work on the farm. We would clean the Christmas trees. We would, help my grandpa plant them. Anything that a kid could do, they would make us do.
It's good to know you have those skills, Noah.
Yes,
I
it
expect you to
is.
be at the house tomorrow morning at 4. All right, we have got to go. We will be back here next week on Caregiver Crossing. If you want to reach out about anything that you want to hear on the show, anybody you want to be on the show, any questions you have, we love your questions. Email me at tina@joyshouse.org. We have somebody to thank before we head out.
Caregiver Crossing is supported by Cardon and Associates, with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Until next time, take good care of each other.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.